Yes, peace, shalom, shalom. Giving honor and praise to the creator and the maker of heaven and earth. Want to go over a particular subject. This subject here is concerning certain aspects of the Hebrew culture from the Hebrew language. Let's start in Genesis 2, verse 7. It says, "And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul." The Hebrew of this, brothers and sisters, says the following, all right? So we can gain some understanding concerning this kind of matter. It says, Vayitzer Yah Elohim et ha'adam afar min ha'adama vayipak ba'afal nishmat kayim wahi ha'adam lenefesh kaya. Now I wanted to sit there and point out a particular aspect from the Hebrew record itself. It says that Adam, which means man or mortal or human, right, was created or made, that is to say, by God from the dust of the ground. The Hebrew word Adama, as we see right here, is the Hebrew word for ground. Adama is the feminine of Adam. Adam is man or mortal. Man was taken from his mother, which is the Adama. So let that be noted and understood. The point in going over that is because you have it to where there are some people who are trying to bash the scriptures and unfortunately have a lack of understanding of what the Hebrew is saying by saying, well, man came out of woman, woman didn't come out of the rib of a man. But they're not realizing that Adam represents the human aspect in the human life. And that came from and was made from, that is the Adama. And the Adama is the feminine of Adam. So therefore the Hebrews had an understanding that we do come from a feminine principle. Now we want to sit there and explain, brothers and sisters, that feminine principle and grown human female is not necessarily one and the same thing. The human female who is grown is part of the feminine principle. However, the feminine principle is older than human females. So let that be noted and understood. And I'm not trying to bash or sound dogmatic, but sisters, be careful to a certain extent when men try to come with that, you're the goddess and y'all older than us as males, y'all females are older than us, because that could be a ploy perhaps for him to just try to woo you or wield you in to being intimate with him by saying that you're the goddess, and he wants to sit there and perhaps just work on you so that way he can get what he wants to get from you. Because anytime you can acknowledge another as your god or goddess, you by default do not have to protect that individual, because the god or goddess will have to protect the one who he or she is protecting. So if you're saying that the black woman is God, by default you are actually lowering your standards as the black man. You don't have to be her provider, her protector. You don't have to be her support. You don't have to sit there and help her in anything, because anyone that is the god or the goddess is supposed to be able to do that. So it's a ploy to a certain extent for men to continue to be irresponsible in certain cases. You see, it says that the concept is, when you read in the story of Adam and Eve, that just say Adam, which is man or mortal, and Eve was taken out from it from his zale, which they translate as the word rib, which literally mean side, because she is part of him. You understand? So let that be noted and understood. So it's not a misogynistic type of thing. It's not a thing on hating on women or anything of that sort. That's something that needed to be noted and understood. Also, people are putting up concepts from the Catholic Church saying that the story of Adam and Eve doesn't make much sense. But the Catholic Church is also the same ones responsible, written by certain books like Lead Me Not Into Temptation, where they're noted for molesting little boys. So when you have a priesthood of homosexuals, the story of Adam and Eve will never make sense. When you have a concept, as some black men do, that homosexuality is not a problem, and to be on the down low, homosexual is not a problem, those individuals can never understand a story of a man and his wife, because that would never make sense to him. You see, so now let's move on, if we will. Let's go, if we will, brothers and sisters, to the book of Numbers. We're going to go to Numbers chapter 16. All right? Numbers 16, verse 32. And it says here, so we can gain an understanding concerning this kind of matter. We are in the scriptures, or Bamidbar, or Numbers chapter 16. We are in verse 32, and it reads on this wise. All right? Here is what we read. It says the following. And the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them up and their household and all the men of Korah with all their goods. Now, one of the things to point out, brothers and sisters, is when you go into this particular portion in the Hebrew, here is what we read. All right? So we can sit there and see what it says. Wa teeftahk ha'aretz et piha, wa tibla otam, wa et batehem, wa et kal ha'adam, ashil lokorak, wa et kol harakush. Now, one of the things to point out, it speaks about the earth opening up. But now, if you look right here in the Hebrew, it distinctly says, wa teeftahk ha'aretz. Patak in the root form means to open. When you have this letter here, which is the tau, the second letter that you see here, because it says wa, that's in, the prefix here of the letter tau shows you that it is speaking in the third person feminine singular. Wa teeftahk ha'aretz. The earth she opened et piha. Pe means mouth. That hey is also the feminine principle in Hebrew. Piha, her mouth. Pi, my mouth. Piu, his mouth. Piha, her mouth. The earth, she opened her mouth. Watibla, the Hebrew word bala in Hebrew means to swallow, right? This tau, similar to this tau right here, is the feminine principle in this aspect. So the earth, the ground, the planet Earth, the ground, is in Hebrew culture and in Hebrew science, if we will, called part of the feminine principle. So man being taken out of that, the Hebrews, brothers and sisters, had an understanding and concept that the earth was part of the feminine principle. And these things are very, very important to let it be noted and understood. So that way we can gain an understanding concerning this kind of matter. Because you have some people who unfortunately lack understanding in certain things, and they attempt to speak about a particular matter without having knowledge of it. So this right here is very, very important. And don't mean to sound haughty or arrogant, but if anybody can sit there and explain that the earth in Hebrew culture is not in the feminine principle, please let me know. Because so far it's been shown to be such. So human beings were taken out of the earth, and the earth is feminine. So it's kind of in a way like our mother. But many people in what they call the so-called conscious community, Bible bashers, naysayers, if you will, they lacking understanding of the linguistics. They lacking understanding and concern of how the ancient nations viewed agriculture and knew that the earth needed to rest, and everything that they go about is based upon a meme on Facebook or some video that some other person made, which they have not checked the references of such. These are the types of things that people have unfortunately been brought into, which takes you back to Isaiah chapter 60 in the Bible, where it says, gross darkness shall cover the peoples. And that's exactly what has happened. So Blessed be the creator of the heavens and the earth. Shalom.